When you think about the UK, it's a pretty small place, right? But have you ever wondered how it packs in such wildly different scenery? I mean, you've got the rugged, windy mountains up in Scotland, and then the super gentle, rolling hills down in the south of England. Well, it turns out there's this invisible line that basically splits these two worlds apart. Let's figure out what it is. So here's our game plan. We're going to take a quick tour through the UK's physical landscape. We'll start by figuring out that big split between what we call upland and lowland Britain. Then we're going to climb some of the highest peaks, follow the great rivers, and finally, we'll check out that dynamic edge where the land crashes into the sea. All right, so to really get to grips with Britain's geography, you just need to understand one single concept. It's the one thing that explains pretty much everything about why the country is split in two, and it's all about the shape of the land itself. And that concept is called relief. Now, in geography, relief is just a simple way of describing the land. How high is it and how steep is it? Is it all mountainous and jagged, or is it kind of flat and gentle? This one idea, it's the key to everything. So this idea of relief is what creates the UK's Great Divide. You can basically split the whole country into two big zones. You've got the upland areas, mostly up in the north and west, which have that high relief that was carved out by ancient glaciers, and then you have the lowland areas, mainly in the south and east, with their low relief shaped by rivers. And this one difference, it affects literally everything from the weather to what you can actually grow in the ground. So let's dive into our first region. We're heading north and west, into those really dramatic upland areas. We're talking ancient landscapes carved out by ice and even volcanoes. At the very heart of the uplands are, of course, the UK's highest mountains. You've got the big three, Ben Nevis in Scotland, Snowdon over in Wales, and Scafell Pike in England. And as you can see, Scotland easily takes the crown for the highest point in the entire kingdom. Okay, so let's focus on the winner. Ben Nevis is not just another mountain, it is the highest point of land in the whole of the United Kingdom. It stands at 1,345 meters, making it the king of the Grampian Mountains, right in the middle of the incredible Scottish Highlands. But let's get some perspective here. How tall is tall, really? I mean, Ben Nevis is a serious climb, for sure. But when you put it next to Mount Everest, you see that tall is all relative. The world's highest peak is more than 6 times taller. But it's not all about height. Every one of these upland areas has its own cool story. Snowdon in Wales, for instance, was literally born from ancient volcanoes. Scafell Pike got its name from Viking settlers. And then you have the Pennines, that long chain of hills people call the backbone of England, and the windswept granite peaks of Dartmoor. Okay, let's leave those rugged peaks behind us. We're heading south and east now, into the other half of the UK, the gentle lowland plains. This is a landscape that's defined not by ice, but by water and farming. This is pretty much Britain's breadbasket. The land is flatter, the soils are way more fertile, so places like Lincolnshire are just perfect for growing crops. The fens in East Anglia are another amazing example. That whole area used to be a massive wetland, but centuries ago it was drained to create some of the best farmland in the entire country. So what's the one feature that really defines the lowlands? It's the rivers. For centuries, these things weren't just waterways, they were the main highways for trade and getting around. They carved out the valleys and basically decided exactly where Britain's great towns and cities were going to be built. Seriously, think about it. So many of the UK's big cities owe their entire existence to a river. You've got Liverpool on the Mersey, Glasgow on the Clyde, Nottingham on the Trent, and of course, London on the River Thames. The connection is just undeniable. And the Thames has got to be the most famous river of them all. It winds its way for 346 kilometers, flowing right through the heart of the capital. You just can't imagine London's history, its trade, or its famous skyline without the Thames flowing right past landmarks like the Houses of Parliament. So we've seen the uplands and the lowlands, but what happens at the very edge of the country, where these two different landscapes collide with the incredible power of the ocean? Well, let's talk about the coastline. The story of Britain's coast is really a story about rock, and the rule is super simple. Soft rock, like clay, gets worn away by the waves really easily. Hard rock, like granite, puts up a much better fight. And that simple difference is what creates every single cliff, bay, and beach you see. If you want to see soft rock in action, you don't have to look any further than the Holderness Coast in Yorkshire. It's made of this soft boulder clay, and because of that, it's one of the fastest eroding coastlines in all of Europe. On average, it loses 2 to 3 meters to the sea every single year.
Now, on the complete other end of the scale, some coastlines are so special, geologically speaking, that they're protected for the entire world. UNESCO calls them World Heritage Sites, basically places that are considered important for all of us.
And a perfect example of this is England's Jurassic Coast. This is a hard rock coast. It stretches for 150 kilometers, and it's basically a living museum of Earth's history with these incredible cliffs and millions of years of fossils just falling right out of the rock. Okay, so we've been all over the map. We've seen the mountains, the plains, the rivers, the coasts. But this isn't just a geography lesson, right? This ancient landscape has a really direct and powerful impact on life in the UK right now, today. So let's bring it all together. The relief of the land, how high or low it is, decides where we can farm. The incredible beauty of the uplands drives tourism and recreation. The shape of the valleys gives us natural places to store our water. And the paths that the rivers took determined where our biggest cities would spring up. In so many ways, our entire society is built right on top of this ancient geological foundation. For millions of years, these landscapes have been constantly changing, shaped by ice, water, and rock. The last great force to come along and shape them, well, that's us. So the question I want to leave you with is this: what kind of legacy are we going to leave behind?